podcast. I'm Shay of The Good People, and I'm super wet, and not in the good way because it is raining outside, and we're going to do this interview with wet pants. And that's what's cool about us in Brooklyn. Welcome back to the pod. If you have never tuned in before, this is the podcast portion of the live show. So Shay and the Good People live show held monthly at Pete's Candy Store that I host, and I have 3 amazing singer-songwriters each show, and then I invite them into the studio to talk about their life, love, successes, failures, wealth, and also throughout the show, we record the live music show. So throughout this podcast, you'll hear little clips of their actual performance. And today we have the amazing, the beautiful, the talented, another hostess with the mostest, Alexandra James. Welcome to the pod.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here today. We were talking off mic, because we can do that in a podcast studio, about this today was just a little rough.
Yeah.
Like, there was just morning. It's raining a lot. Right now it is December. It's warm, which is fucked up.
Yeah. Why?
Well, global warming. Yeah.
Oh, right.
Right. Shit.
Right.
I love the warmth. I actually hate the cold and hate the winter, but the seesaw, like, because it was snowing a couple days ago.
Yes, it was.
Okay, so rough mornings, what do you do? How do you get through to the rest of the day with a rough morning? Or do you just kind of like let it flow?
I've been trying to wake up. I mean, so I'm a notorious oversleeper. I have really bad insomnia, so I sleep very late in the morning. Unless I set an alarm or unless I am forced to wake up, basically, I will sleep forever.
Yeah.
So I've been trying to wake up earlier. So today wasn't one of those days, but I've been trying to wake up earlier in general to just have more time to myself to actually sit down and drink my coffee instead of like drinking my coffee while I'm showering or doing my makeup or whatever. So I've just been trying to give myself a little extra time, and I feel like that helps set me up for the rest of the day. Also, I have 7 animals at home.
Yeah, you have a zoo.
I have a little Brooklyn zoo.
Cute.
So I have to, like, part of my morning ritual is like I just get up and the first thing I do is I feed the animals and I take my dog out to pee.
That's really nice, though, to have like a little morning walk. It's tough in the winter, but like once a cold air hits your face,
yes,
you feel like
it definitely, that helps to wake me up. I have like my little morning ritual with foods I eat.
Wait, tell me about that.
So I don't even know if this is true, but TikTok told me to do it, so I'm doing it.
Of course, when the gods assign you. Yeah.
I wake up and I like chug a glass of water just like instantly, because I'm not good at drinking water either. I suck at it.
I'm trying to get better.
So I chug it. I'm like, you can't put the glass down. You pick it up and you can't put it down until it's done.
I've heard also that just taking sips of water is actually not hydrating. Like, you actually have to
feel even better.
Yeah, so you're doing it right and everyone else is fucking up. Because you have to, apparently, I went to like an acupuncturist before in Chinese medicine, and he was like, taking little sips is just wetting your mouth. Oh. It's not actually hydrating you because it's not enough water to be absorbed. Don't quote me on this. Don't come for me. Or actually, if you know a little bit better, let us know in the comments.
Let us know.
Let us know so that
I would like to know.
We can learn something else. Yeah. So I think you're doing it right.
Yeah,
with the water.
I chug a glass of water. Then I have this like herbal like concoction. It's called like a wellness recipe. It has like echinacea and like a bunch of, it tastes like ass. It tastes horrible. So then I get like a few droppers of that. I put it in a little bit of water, chug that, and then I eat 2 Brazil nuts.
2?
2 of them, because TikTok told me just two, no more.
Is this like one woman's morning routine that you saw, or is this like
no? This is like an amalgamation of different little things I put together from my routine that I picked up in different places. The Brazil nuts, apparently, there's like a a vitamin in them. I really should probably do more research on this because I cannot explain it well. That's
Wild
really
guess.
good for gals and AFAB folks. That helps regulate
The uteri.
female hormones and period stuff.
Nice.
So
Do you feel like that's been helping, like cycle wise?
maybe.
Okay.
I don't know. I honestly think the ritual is helpful also too, because I'm like, I'm taking care of myself by eating these 2 little nuts.
That's so cute. Do you put one in each hand?
I should.
And then
I don't, but I should.
so cute.
And then I drink a glass of kefir for my probiotics.
I love
And then I
kefir.
eat something usually, except I didn't this morning. I should have. But that's my usual ritual. And that like helps me kind of face the day knowing that I've already taken care of myself a little bit.
Yeah, totally.
Like I gave myself vitamins and forced myself to drink water.
Yeah. Honestly, in this day and age, any little bit helps. Any routine like really grounds us. I feel like I kind of knew that, in my 20s, and I still struggle with anxiety, but I have really bad anxiety in my 20s and panic attacks. And then I found meditation and tried to do that. And I do it and I'd kind of fall off. And then it's like, coffee, but then do you eat something? Do you not eat something? That I kind of did, routine. And then after the pandemic or during the pandemic, it was like, I don't know about you, but I lost every job for the entire year.
Oh, yeah. I think I had like 2 Zoom students, maybe 3, but that wasn't like super consistent. But yeah, I wasn't doing anything.
Yeah, anything. And I was like, I was so depressed that I was like, I have to at least give myself a routine. So of like, okay, in the morning, and then we're kind of put like this little thing goes here, and then this little thing goes here, and then I go into the bathroom and I do 7 affirmations, and then I go sit back down, and then I meditate, or I go outside, or I used to I was like running for a while in the mornings, which was so dumb because I hate running. But
I wish I liked running.
Me too.
I really wish I liked running.
Too,
like I really do.
Because then we could be in clubs, running clubs, because then we could do marathons.
Everyone looks so hot and fit and sweaty. And
not like stressed out when they run. Feel so... I was running from catering to the F train so that I could get home at like 11:45, like maybe 2 or 3 blocks. And I was like, I could never be a runner.
Yeah. No, I walk up the stairs to get off the subway, and I'm like,
yeah,
at the top, and I'm like, oh.
Yeah, I'm more of a yoga girl. Okay. I just like to stretch. Yeah. Different strokes, for different folks. I think it's good that you have a morning routine no matter what.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like you said about the pandemic, I did not have any sort of routine in the pandemic. And so I feel like, and I totally just fucked shit up. So I feel like that experience has definitely led me to trying to form routines and rituals. I'm very into rituals these days.
Yeah, of course. You have to. And also, a newly sober person or a newly non-drinker. I don't know how you personally coin yourself.
Yeah, can we talk about substances on this podcast? Okay.
Of course. Yeah.
I like to think I'm sober because I don't really think this counts, but I've been microdosing mushrooms a couple times just for like, just to see because I also have anxiety and depression. And I think like probably 5 or 6 months ago started like a really big dip into like a depressive,
you felt yourself going down again.
Depressive valley. I don't know what to call it.
For sure. Yeah.
I mean, I've been seeing all these studies about microdosing and how it helps people, especially with anxiety and just general mood and focus, that kind of stuff. So I've been literally taking like half of a microdose. So I've been
nice.
Like you don't get high or anything. There's no
teeny.
But I mean, like so technically, no, I have not been fully sober. But I'm like, man, I don't know if that counts as like more of a drug than like the SSRIs I take.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I feel like, yeah, it is. So yes, sober with a few days of microdosing mushrooms.
Yeah. The harm reduction approach. It's like
definitely
the all or nothing approach with program, with AA, which I'm lightly familiar with because I'm going to be 3 years sober soon in a couple days.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And I stopped drinking from like a drug trip, like a journey, like a guided journey with a person there helping us, and not ayahuasca, but like maybe a similar experience. It wasn't a shaman. It was just like this woman who was like a couple years older than me, and she lived in Brooklyn, and like she and her like assistant, who were amazing, and I really connected with her assistant. They like halfway through the trip, because I was like laying down and then I got up and they were like drinking wine, even though they were like kind of like trip sitting us.
That's interesting.
I was like, at the time I was like, all right, whatever. I have it. I have I have myself, but it was very funny. And then after that, I was just like, I don't want to drink anymore. Like, and I just kind of stopped wanting to drink. And I like had, it was in December. It was December 12th, 2020. And so I was going to other holiday gatherings, but also not gatherings. I shouldn't say that because it was in the pandemic, but I'd go over to like my uncle's house, or I'd hang out with like a friend, and they'd be like, do you want to drink? And I just didn't. Viscerally, my body was like, ew, like fucking gross. Okay. Like, and I just kind of kept it up, but I did go into some meetings earlier this year, AA meetings in person, because my life was kind of getting really unmanageable with outside stressors, and I didn't want to drink, but I did need help. I was like, I don't know what to do with this really intense feeling, because when you do stop drugs and alcohol, you feel everything.
Yes.
Everything. Yes. A lot deeper, but it has a different flavor to it.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like it's not only feeling everything, but it's being present for that feeling as well. There's no block between you. There's no like blanket or veil between. It's just you and yourself and your emotions, and you have to sit with it, and that's very scary. And
you have to be so confronting.
Yes. And also, I mean, there are so many things we don't want to confront and feel, and from like minute, like a bad day at work when you're like, I don't even want to think about this anymore, let's have a glass of wine, like, to like, I have debilitating panic attacks.
Yes.
Like, I don't want to think about that. So I mean, there are so many reasons to drink and use drugs.
Yeah.
So
oh my God. More reasons than not.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
Yeah. Even to the, like, if you've ever been at a wedding and you're single and everyone's drinking and having a good time, and you're like, I don't want to sit with me being sad of being the last single person, unpartnered, let alone unmarried, like unpartnered person in the friend group. So I can just drink and I'll feel better. But I had that earlier with a friend this year. Like, well, I'm also in my 30s too, where it's like, I know more about myself. I don't necessarily need to go to that, or I recognize like what's actually making me happy, and what like alignment is more important to me at this point than like copying what other people are doing with their lives. But you are confronted with like how you feel about those things without alcohol.
Please don't make me close the door. I'm not done fighting yet. You are different than before. It's easy to forget. And I am strong, but your night is oh so cold and oh so long. And I am wise, but the battles raging in my mind just won't subside. I think I gotta leave you behind. Oh, darling, I think I gotta leave you behind.
harm reduction in terms of microdosing is like whatever you need to do to take care of yourself.
Yeah.
And that doesn't have to be an all or nothing, and it's everyone's own personal choice and personal journey. And I know somebody who was like, yeah, I drink, I smoke a little weed, I smoke some cigarettes, but if I don't do heroin in a day, I'm sober. And I was like, that's the harm reduction approach.
Yeah, that sounds appropriate, I think.
Yeah. So switch gears a little bit. So you were on Shay The Good People March 14th of this year.
Yes. Oh, wow. Oh, my gosh. Okay.
I know. So we're actually almost ending the year here, which is so crazy.
Excuse me.
But your songs are so beautiful, and you had Vera and Noah singing with you. Yeah. And the three of you kind of make music together.
Yes.
And everybody's been on Shay The Good People also, which I love and I feel so grateful for. But when did you start Did you start songwriting or singing first?
Singing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where'd you grow up also? I don't think I know
This is my origin story.
Please.
I always get a good giggle out of this one. So I grew up in Los Angeles, in California.
Okay, cool.
And so my mom has this debilitating fear of public speaking and like speaking in front of other people. Like in college, she had to give a presentation. She took like an art class and she had to give a presentation about paintings. And she literally like called out sick. She's like, can't do it. Like, no. And so she was like, I can't have my daughter have this fear of public speaking. Like, and
where did she get that?
I have no idea. To be fair, my mom's like a very like gentle, kind of sensitive person. So I think like maybe like overstimulation of being in front of people, the attention, which
did her parents ever tell her like yeah which is good, but like your grandparents ever like tell her not to speak or shush her or make her?
I mean my mom's 66 I think yeah, and she kind of grew up in like a middle class white California family. My grandfather was an Oldsmobile dealer. My grandmother was a housewife, homemaker, I believe. And she was raised to kind of think that was like her future. It was to be good and quiet and, small.
Yeah.
She was,
subordinate.
Yeah, exactly. I think she was very talented at sports, but her parents were like, no, like, you're not going to do that. Like, what are you?
Okay. Silencing her.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, that's definitely, I think there could be some roots in that. She just grew up in the time where like that was the vibe for a lot of women, was like, that's cute. You can run really fast, but like, that won't really make you a good housewife in the future.
Yeah.
So, manners, respect your elders,
expectations
all
of what women.
Yeah,
just
exactly.
casual patriarchy.
Yeah, just very casual. Totally not problematic at all.
So then back to not at all. Let's go back there. No,
Yeah, yeah, right. I wish.
I have to work too much. I'm trying to be a housewife. There's some, we'll get into that. Yeah. Okay, so your mom was like, "We're not going to make my daughter."
Yes, exactly.
Quiet.
Like, definitely want to have her be comfortable in front of other people, not have that discomfort. So she stuck me in a cabaret class when I was 5, at like the local, the cabaret. I think I sang "Forget Your Troubles." Come on, get happy. The Judy Garland. Yeah.
Yes.
And she just kind of threw me in there because she didn't want me to be like scared in front of other people and all of that good stuff. And then after the class, the teacher was like, "Your daughter's like pretty good." I'm gonna silence this. Your daughter's all right, well,
we'll cut
didn't
that.
quite make it. Your daughter's really good, actually. Like is a good singer for her age. Like if she wants voice lessons, I would be happy to take her on.
Cool.
And so my mom was like, oh, wow, that's so cool. So she goes to me and she's like, Alexandra, like you did great. And your teacher really thought you were amazing. And she thinks you have a really good voice. And she actually offered to take you on for singing lessons. Is that something you'd be interested in? And I said, Mom, I already know how to sing. Why would I take lessons?
That's right. You better tell her.
So from day one, that's been my vibe.
Since day one, you were like, don't tell me what to do.
But I did end up taking lessons and yes. And yeah, that's when it kind of started. I was in musical theater from then on, as a lot of us are.
Do you have shame about that?
No, I used to, because I mean, and definitely in music school, once I went on to like higher education, yeah, musical theater is like fucking nerds,
like trash.
They're so annoying. Which sometimes, but I feel like there's annoying people in every single genre of music. So like, why do we have to get so?
I mean,
specific.
Especially.
I mean, they're just annoying people in general. So.
Yeah.
Odds are they're going to pop up.
Definitely in music. I mean, have you met a guitar player?
Yeah. Oh my God. Dated too many of those. I've learned.
Dude, me too. So you're like, I'm never doing that again. I'm just going to date a bass player.
That's exactly what I decided.
Although Neil plays like a bunch of stuff, right?
No, just really bass.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
But then he also does like a ton of sound and knows all about that stuff. Okay,
yes. Cool. But yeah, I do think I had a little bit of shame about it, especially in school, especially in conservatory.
Yeah.
Because like,
where did you go to school?
I went to New England Conservatory in Boston.
Is that where the Lake Street Dive kids went?
Yeah. Yeah, we sang with them. They came back to do like a show, and the ensemble I was with did like a gospel performance with Rachel. It was very fun. Yeah.
I went to see a show at Mercury Lounge years ago, like pre-pandemic, and it was what's his name? Who's the lead singer of Wolfpack? And then Katzman, Theo Katzman.
Yeah.
It was his solo things. My friend Jacob was playing with him, and then Rachel Price was like, she's friends with them, so she came to see the show, and she was like in the lobby, and the vibes were, do not talk to me.
Really?
Do not talk to me.
Interesting.
I don't know what she was going through. I don't think she was mean, but she was definitely like head down, kind of in the back, like surrounding her. She was like kind of pulling people in front of her. But I also don't know if I was like, in my mind, I was like, I really want to talk to her. She doesn't want to talk to me. Right. I don't know if I was projecting.
Yeah, we do that sometimes.
Totally. And then a couple months ago, or this year, I played a So Far show with Taylor Rashton, her husband. And I was like, oh my God, I'm going to meet her. I'm getting so close. I have not met her yet. But I like talked to him afterwards, and like, I loved his music. He was great. And I was like, you should be on Shay The Good People. I didn't really know. I knew they were married, but I didn't know I didn't know that he has like a huge career.
Right. Okay.
He would never do Shay and the Good People. I shouldn't say never. He might, but
yeah, you never know.
I never know. But I had messaged him on Instagram, and like, he never messaged me back, and then announced this like huge tour, and I was like, yeah, maybe we're at a different level, which like I'll get there one day. But
yeah, exactly.
It's just really funny. Like, it's just such a small. Brooklyn is such a small town, but it's like so big.
Yeah.
What were you doing, like music wise, pre-pandemic in terms of music?
Like my writing?
Yeah. Or were you doing a lot of
general?
solo shows or full band shows, or?
I released an album in, when did I release it? Oh my God, this is so embarrassing.
2018?
2019.
In a year.
In
1 year in your life, you released it.
And it was a while ago.
Yeah.
It was right when I moved to New York, or soon after I moved to New York. And That is, the album is called Ascension. And
Ascending, honey.
and that was like the music that I wrote while at the tail end of being at NEC. And I took a year off in between undergrad and grad school, and I bartended and made money and started doing wedding gigs and just funneled all of my funds into this album and recording it and making it happen.
Cool.
I had a great band in Boston that I really loved, and we did some live shows there as a full band. But then I moved to New York because I wanted to go to NYU for the songwriting program. Because at the time, I don't know if this is still true. It might be. But at the time, it was the only songwriting master's program in the country. Berkeley has one, but it's in Valencia, Spain.
Okay.
And I didn't want to move there. So
Why not?
well, I had a partner that I wanted to stick with. Also, I had a community. You know, I had just worked on this album. Like, I didn't want to just, I mean,
mostly joking, but
yeah.
If you're in a different place, if you're like single and had no pets.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, I think at a different time in my life, I would have been like, fuck yeah. But everything kind of pointed to me staying in the States. And also I had wanted to live in New York always. So I moved and I realized I just forgot the question. What tangent am I on?
She was whiskey on ice, little cold to the touch, but warmed you up inside. Oh, gasoline on a fire. She would blow up your world, yeah, a real live wire. She'd take you to the stratosphere, such a high, and promise all the world to you in every side. And then she'd disappear and have you screaming, why? But even in the sweetest apple, you can find a little velvet and smoke, velvet and smoke, velvet and smoke, velvet and smoke, ooh, velvet and smoke, velvet and smoke. Why'd she have to go?
Oh, I was just curious what you were
the
doing
music that I was doing
pre-pandemic.
pre-pandemic, yes.
Because we only recently met, like maybe like 2 years ago or a year or two ago or something like that.
I think it's been about 2.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because
maybe
I
a year,
moved back to Brooklyn in 2022 and kind of started the series, like there's Shay and the Good People in March 2022. So coming up on 2 years. But okay.
So yeah, I released this album. I did have my band, because half of my band moved to New York with me. It was Neil, my partner on bass, and our roommate was my guitarist.
Oh, okay,
And
cool.
then drummer and keys were still in Boston. So I had them come up a couple times for some shows. But I was a broke grad student, so I couldn't really afford to keep schlepping them, or down, not up. I had them come down. I couldn't really keep affording to do that. Also, it was like a lot of travel for them. So I kind of did some solo shows for a while. Before the pandemic, I had like this goal of just doing one solo show a month somewhere. And that was very helpful. And I was doing music from that album, and then as well music that I was writing while at NYU, which that genre, I would say, like genre-wise, it was kind of jazz-influenced pop, a little R&B, a little like soul, basically.
Cool.
Yeah, which is very different from the stuff that I do now.
Yeah. But the stuff you do, I can hear all those influences, but it definitely, maybe that one song, Velvet and
Velvet and Smoke.
Velvet and Smoke. Yeah. It's just like super sexy, like rock rodeo.
Yeah. I kind of like think of that as like, I like to describe myself as like outlaw country / like folk rock.
I love
kind
that.
of vibes.
How do you write songs? Like, do you just let the muse come to you? Do you sit down and like, I'm going to write something? Do you start with lyrics? There's so many options.
Usually failed. Usually sitting down and writing a song does not work for me. I mean, I had a few assignments at NYU that like I literally had to do that for like a class.
Yeah.
And those turned into songs that I really cherished and loved. But a lot of them didn't. That's not really the kind of creative juju that works for me.
Yeah. Ooh, I want to know more about this. What's your creative juju?
Well, most of, if not all of my songs will start when I think of or notice somehow in life or just in my brain a lyric or like a couple of lyrics, like a specific rhyme. Like Velvet and Smoke popped into my head.
Nice.
And then I was like, oh, she was Velvet and Smoke. And that was the beginning of that song.
Okay, cool. So you work like in pieces?
Yeah. And I usually will just, my phone has like 700 notes on it. Like there, so I'll get this idea, this phrase, this couplet, this rhyme title that I'll write down on my phone. And I'll usually just like be like, nope. And I won't think about it. And then either I'll scroll through my phone, it will pop up, or it will come back into my mind and I'll go back and start writing based off of that.
Okay.
And then that usually is put to music, whether it be like a verse and a chorus, even just a couple lines, or like a fully fleshed out song. But it's pretty much always lyric before music.
Cool.
And it's usually like I'll fuck around with some chords, not like I'll look at the lyrics, I'll hear a melody for them and find the chords.
Oh,
so,
okay.
I mean, that does happen sometimes, but I would say usually more often it's lyric, chords, melody.
Cool. I like how like compartmentalized that is.
It is. Yeah. And I for better or for worse, I do kind of like put them on the back burner, which means sometimes they get forgotten about and sometimes they don't.
But that's what's really cool about art is like you don't have to decide.
Yeah.
You whatever's going to come to you, whatever's going to like materialize, whatever I feel like whatever song comes back to you and you keep singing it, like that's the song that wants to be birthed from you, or that's the music that actually wants to be heard in like its right timing. And it's so funny. I'm like, so funny how I have a control issue, like a thing that I'm working on of like letting go of control, but it's such a blessing and such a great reminder to be an artist of like, it just comes when it comes in terms of music, or maybe somebody would be like with the painting or with whatever sculpt, you know, if they sit down with some clay and they're like, I don't know what this is going to be. Like I'm very woo woo in that way of like, let's see what happens with the song. And I never force it. So I'm like, why do I do that in other parts of my life?
That's a good question.
Trauma. I think trauma. But
yeah, probably.
I really love how in tune with you are with yourself and your vulnerability. And I feel like that comes across. Social media has its own thing, but I feel like you really allow yourself to be vulnerable. Yeah. On socials.
I share a lot on social media.
Which is great. I really don't in a vulnerable way. And I kind of wish I did a little bit more.
I mean, it's a double-edged sword. I feel like it's like sometimes people think you're vain when you do that. Sometimes it's like attention grabby. And to be fair, sometimes it is. Yeah. Sometimes I do want recognition and attention. Like we mentioned earlier, I made a post about yesterday was 2 months sober for me. And I absolutely wanted love and recognition from people. It was something I was seeking out, and I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing. I think vanity is not a bad thing sometimes. I love that. Like I think more it's just very human.
Yeah.
Seeking out recognition and appreciation from other people is a very human thing to want.
I feel like that people put that in their shadow a lot.
Yeah.
Or make that in their shadow of like, I don't want people to know that I want them or that I want to be seen
Yeah,
or
that's not me.
yeah.
I don't have any of that.
I love that though. That's really powerful. And I hope, but also it's in a genuine way of like,
It is. Yeah.
like, I don't feel like when you're like, hey, I'm 2 months sober and I'd love to be recognized for it. One, I think it's helpful, especially on a disciplined abstinence journey.
Yes.
That's why to have people recognize you and say, keep going. That's why
accountability. Absolutely.
that's why we have those rooms. That's why when we go like into some 12-step programs, like people will want to be your sponsor right away because you need that accountability. You need that help. So I think it's great in that sense. If anybody's like, a week sober, like just post it and get people to love on you.
Yes. Yeah.
And what, cause you're a couple years younger than me, but what would you say we're in this post-pandemic world as an artist. And I know you work really hard, even outside of the music, to like support yourself, and you work really hard to support your mental health. And you're very public about that. And I love that.
Cloudy, but it was a perfect day. I moved through life in a lovely way with you. It's just what we do. I'm thinking, just thinking about you, the dunes and I. Back here in Brooklyn feels like another life. Snowing, but all I hear when I close my eyes, crashing tide. Time dances, life has a way of cutting in. When I feel lonely, I start to reminisce about where we've been. I start thinking, just thinking about you, the dunes and I. Oh, take me back. Oh, take me back. Oh, take me back. Oh, take me back.
What's your take on if someone really wanted to move to New York and they want to be a singer, they want to be a songwriter, and they're terrified? What would you offer? What's your like offering to someone who's like, I really want to move to New York. It's something I've always wanted to do, but I feel like it's already happened. I'm not gonna be able to meet people, or I'm scared it's gonna overwhelm me. What's your offering?
To be fair, that might end up being true.
Yeah.
But which is fine. But I mean, I this is kind of cheesy, but it's absolutely always been true for me. I've always regretted things I haven't done. And that, like, I don't have regret for things I've done in terms of trying things out that I might want to do. Because in the end, I'd rather have said, yeah, tried that out, not for me. But I probably learned something when I did it, and I learned something new about myself and what I want. And that's a very important part of the journey, is those like quote unquote failures or things that don't work out.
Yeah.
So I'd rather have those experiences than being like, man, I wish, like, I wonder, what if I had moved to New York?
Yeah.
You know, for me, that's very important. That might not be at the top of everyone else's priorities list, but I do think it's something really to ponder and ask yourself, would I regret more never doing something or doing something that didn't work out? Mm-hmm. And if you find the answer to that question, then but I would recommend do it. Just do it.
Yeah. And it's just fear, right? We're kind of just afraid of a feeling.
Yes. And I mean, fear is scary, obviously.
False evidence appearing real. Wow. She's a poet.
And you know, fear, I'm sure you experience this with anxiety and panic attacks. Fear can be very real and have a physical repercussion and manifestation. And that is, I don't know why I'm going off on this tangent, but I feel like if you've ever had a panic attack, you understand what physical fear is, even if you've like never experienced something. And actually, I shouldn't say never experienced something traumatic, because I think panic attacks are traumatic.
Yeah.
But it's like having a heart attack, but not having a heart attack.
Yeah. You feel like you're dying.
Yeah, you absolutely feel like you're dying, which is just wild.
Yeah. And it still is like in my mind, like the catastrophe of what's going to happen. Or I struggle with the sleep of like not sleeping, and then that increases my anxiety. And then I really go down the loop of like, I'm going to ruin my entire life and everything that I have because I can't sleep. And then I'm going to ruin everything.
Yeah.
And won't be able to support myself. And how am I going to be able to survive? Like a lot of that like base level survival.
Yeah. And I mean, that's tough. I mean, I've definitely reached that in New York. Like New York has not been easy on me for sure. I was in New York through the pandemic. That was horrifying.
Yeah, that's a whole other interview.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my God. I've been very successful financially in New York. I've been very unsuccessful financially in New York. And it's still going, you know, peaks and valleys. I have not leveled out, and I haven't reached a place that I'm like, I'm really comfortable in 5, almost 6 years of being here. And
is that possible as an artist? Do we want to be comfortable is the question.
I don't know. Sometimes I think like I definitely, I mean, it's really hard, especially I feel like as I'm approaching almost 30, there's so many things that my life and my family and people have told me that I need to have by the time I'm 30.
Girl.
Or that I should have a house and a marriage and kids and all of that on top of the expectations or the things we should have as, and I say that in air quotes, as an artist.
You have good hair. That's like half the battle.
Yeah.
You don't need anything else.
Yeah, that's fair. You too.
Thank you. And I'm in my 30s. So to say that that's actually the most important thing that's out there.
Yeah. No.
Over a house or money is good hair.
But yeah, definitely like experiencing all those pressures. Part of me is like, I don't know, maybe I should just run away and buy a cabin and learn how to garden and make my own bread.
Well, the good news is you have a backyard, so you can learn how to garden.
That's
and
true.
you have a kitchen, so you can make bread. So you don't even need to.
I don't even need to.
Yeah, you don't even need to get a mortgage for that.
No, you're right.
We figured it out.
Okay.
Well, Alexandra James, thank you so much for coming in today. I'm so happy I got to learn more about you.
Yeah, thank you.
And your story and like I don't get to see you enough, and the world doesn't get to see you perform enough. But
I'm working on that.
Yes, and I'm excited for it. And you host shows at your house too.
Yes,
some house shows. I'm really excited.
We're building a very legitimate studio in the basement, which is very exciting. I'm recording new music.
Woo-hoo. Well,
I'm gonna record the music I've been performing, and I'm gonna release it. So.
Amazing. Yeah. And so, where can people find you so that they can listen to that music ASAP?
So the best place for updates about that is on Instagram. So at _Alexandra James _ the music I mentioned previously, the album Ascension, is on Spotify, any major streaming platforms, just under the artist name Alexandra James. Yeah, so follow me on Spotify, follow me on Instagram. And yeah, that's about it. Those are the only channels. Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming in. Thank you guys for tuning into Shay and the Good People podcast. Follow us on Instagram at Shay and the Good People and come out and see the freaking shows. I mean,
yeah, do it.
They're the podcast and the shows. It's such a good pairing. It's like the steak and red wine. You know what I mean? It's like the Prosecco and oysters. I'm naming alcohol in neither of our drink. I can't think of it. What is it like? Bread and cheese, bread and butter, grapes and the beach.
Yes.
What other good pairing? It's like Victoria and David Beckham.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it. All right. Thank you guys. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Just thinking, yeah, I'm thinking, just thinking about you, the dunes and I. Thank you so much.